Hi guys, welcome to this week's Coffee, and here to show you a weekly update on everything happening in the store, everything new in, my pull list this week, variants, website news, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, just lots to get through today. Recording this on the Wednesday morning, new comic book day, pull lists are already done, new releases are already in the racks, and then again I'm going to take you through, as I say, new stuff that come in this week in terms of graphic novels, big manga delivery, as well as taking you through my pull list and variants and so forth. But before we get to that, just a few things, just, within store anyway. So we took receipt of a new comic lot recently. So we are currently working through that. There's going to be about 700 to 800 comics going out into the bays over the next week or so. So I've been working hard on that this week in between the delivery of the new stuff. And it's primarily Marvel, a lot of Marvel stuff there. Some DC as well, tiny bit of indie. But yeah, we're currently going through that, bagging and boarding it, getting it priced, and getting it organized into the back bay. So the idea is to get those back bays nice and stuffed. So definitely keep an eye out for those. We will also be continuing to add stuff to the website, so www.coffeeandheroes.com. There's new stuff going on there all the time. We've seen a little bit of an upsurge in the website stuff, and as I say, you can either have it delivered out to you. There is a postage charge unless you spend over £30, and then it's free postage. We take care of that. Or else you can always take an option for pickup in store. So if you're a regular of ours and you're popping into the store anyway, we can have it ready for you, bagged and boarded, wrapped, and good to go. So, but as I said, there's loads of stuff going on there. I've been doing a lot of stuff in sort of sale numbers, reducing stock, that kind of thing. There's in excess of 4,000 issues on there at the moment. We're hoping to have that up to around 5,000 issues by the end of this year. It is a monotonous process putting it up, just ask Chris. So it's pretty much his weekly job when he's here, as well as running the store. So, but yeah, the idea is to get as much choice on there as possible for you guys. It's mostly stock from the last 15, 20 years maybe. And then again, when we have new stock, we stick that on there as well. I mean, when it comes to the new stuff, I always focus on the store first. Anybody that comes to the store gets first pick of stock. Obviously, we're a little tight with orders in places. We'll always order extras of titles, but at the same time, we have to be careful with what we do order. So it'll always be in store first, but then stock will end up on the website as well. We've had a few pull list signups this week as well. Again, just a little reminder on pull lists. We've got sheets by the counter there. The new previews books are arrived in this week. If you want to set up a pull list with us, there's no minimum or maximum amount of titles. Means you're always guaranteed first print cover A on release day. You never have to worry about a title getting hot all of a sudden and then becoming expensive on the secondary market. And again, if you're not enjoying something, just drop us a message, cancel it straight away, never a problem. So just a little reminder for the service we do offer. As I say, the new previews books have arrived in this week, so believe it or not, this is November previews for January. Let's get 2022 out of the way before we think about 2023. But yeah, I'll be going through the books. We're hoping to record a previews podcast this week. We'll put out, I might see if I can do a previews video as well, just to give you the option of, whatever you prefer. And we'll obviously get the boards done the next couple of days as well, just with our recommendations and the titles not to miss. Keith and I got back on the podcast horse quite a lot recently, so there's new interviews in the podcast network for creators for upcoming titles. We just got caught up on reviews there the whole way to the end of September. And then we're going to be doing a monthly review show. So once October's out of the way, we'll then review October and so on and so forth. So yeah, lots going on at the moment. One final thing is Halloween Comic Fest is this Saturday. So with regards to that, we will have a rake of free issues. We've got titles from previous years as well as the titles for this year. There wasn't a lot of them, but there are a few there. And we'll be doing a couple of promotions on the day as well. 10% off graphic novels. We'll do something on back issue bays. I'll advertise that in the next day or two as well, but keep an eye out. And again, it'll be this Saturday. So, free comics with any purchase, that kind of thing. So yeah, lots going on. That's before I even jump into all of this. So as I say, plenty to get through. But I'll kick things off with variants. Not tons and tons this week, but there are some really cool ones, which we will jump into first of all. So we have a new Punchline series kicking off this week, called Punchline the Gotham Game, and this is a Derek Chu variant cover. So I did get asked an interesting question yesterday regarding variants. Now, when it comes to a lot of Marvel variants, they're just printed on the same paper as their cover A's, so the prices are never that different. But with DC ones, what you'll tend to find is the variants tend to be £1 dear because they're always printed in cardstock. Now, if a cover A is printed in cardstock and the variant's printed on cardstock, they'll be the same price. But it's just if it's a traditional sort of paper cover and then the variant is cardstock, it'll be £1 more expensive. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, pretty cool punchline variant to kick things off from Derek Chu, as I say. There's a Moon Knight annual this week, and with that comes a really cool variant by Bill Sienkiewicz. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff there. And yeah, that's an example, so that's the same price as the cover A as well. This is actually one from last week, but we were missing a few issues of it. So this is the Dan Mora homage variant to X-Men #1 that's been running through Deceased, War of the Undead Gods. So this is the 3rd issue, and just beautiful, beautiful Dan Mora artwork there. New issue of DC vs. Vampires out this week. So we've got the Nathan Zerdy variant cover focusing on Supergirl there. There's been a bit of a running theme in those as well. I was really happy to see this one, Batman Beyond the White Knight, new issue this week. We're up as far as book 6. But this is a Fiona Staples variant cover. Fiona Staples, of course, being the artist on Saga. You don't see her work an awful lot crossing over to the superhero universe. So I thought this was a really, really cool cover. And then a couple of foils to finish off, which will lead into something else I'm going to chat about quickly. So this is for a series called Damn Them All. So first of all, you've got a foil cover by Danny, who was the artist recently on Arkham City Order of the World, as well as Coffin Bound. And then we have the Charlie Adlard foil cover. Charlie Adlard, of course, being, you know, the artist on The Walking Dead for 170 plus issues. This is a new creator-owned series and the foil cover for that. And speaking of that creator-owned series, so this is the title that we will be running this week as part of our initiative for, you know, cheaper #1s, for, you know, creator-owned stuff that we're very much looking forward to, that we want to do what we can to get people excited about it and into it. So we offer these issues at £3 instead of the traditional £4. We're still running it on Old Dog by Declan Shelby and Kaya by Wes Craig. We've got a limited number of copies of both of those left. But then it's a case of if you try that #1 and you like it, drop us a message and we can get you set up for the rest of the series. So, but yeah, this week we're doing it with Damn Them All. So this is a new Boom Studios title. It's written by Cy Spurrier. Brilliant, brilliant writer, especially recently on Hellblazer. A title that was cut down well short, to be honest. And then Charlie Adlard, as I say, Walking Dead royalty, doing the art on this as well. So supernatural stuff, perfect for the spooky season. Again, we'll have them at the counter. They'll be on the racks as well, but priced at that £3 price point. And again, if it's already on your pull list, you will still get it at £3. It's not a case of paying full price on a pull list. No, this offers for everybody, so definitely something to keep in mind. So move away from there and onto my pull list, which is rather substantial this week. It's kind of scary looking. Lots of good stuff, but just a lot of stuff. So first things to kick off is Catwoman Lonely City. So the last issue of this is out this week. This is the Prestige format 4-issue miniseries by Cliff Chiang, with an older Catwoman, you know, in a city where Batman's dead, where the Joker's dead, where Commissioner Gordon's dead. And it's been a wonderful series. It's been a little slow coming out in terms of its release scheduling, but it's been worth the wait every time. But this is the last issue, which means the trade won't be too far away from that. So we'll move away from the oversized stuff and onto the traditional size stuff, if you will. Just pull out a wee rake here. So Batman Beyond the White Knight, I just spoke about it there with the variant. This, of course, is the cover A by Sean Murphy, up to issue 6. Continues to be a wonderful series, and this looks like it's going to be possibly the end of the Murphyverse, though never say never on that. Next up is Batman Fortress number 6. So I always collect the variants for this. This is a variant covered by Jorge Molina, and this has been the series written by Greg Witta and art by Derek Robertson of The Boys fame. So as I say, issue 6 there. Next up is Gotham Knights Gilded City. So this is a tie-in to the recently released Gotham Knights game. I believe each issue is going to come with a code as well for either an in-game reward, an in-game skin, or a weapon, or a vehicle. I'm not too sure. But I've started playing the game myself. It is fun. I don't think it's as polished as the Arkham stuff, but I am enjoying it. I'm about 3.5, 4 hours in. It's just fun playing the game as Nightwing, so it works for me. But yeah, this is one that will link to that. I believe it's a prequel to that series. Next up is DC Horror Presents Sergeant Rock vs. the Army of the Dead. This, of course, is the Bruce Campbell DC Horror series. Been great stuff so far. First issue was wonderful. I always go for the Francesco Francavilla variants for that, although Gary Frank is killing it on cover A's as well. I've mentioned already DC versus Vampires as well out this week, so we're up to issue 10 of 12. Of course, written by James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg, art by Otto Schmidt. Again, what I said every time, one of DC's most underrated titles. I just showed you Deceased. Again, I collected more homage variants. Next up is Detective Comics. So a new issue this week from Ram V. And Sizeware does backup stories for this. And yeah, just wonderful, wonderful stuff. This Raphael Albuquerque on art, Danny doing the art for the backup stories, and then of course a gorgeous Jim Lee variant cover. A new week of Human Target is a good week as well. So I always go for the cover A and the cover B of this. So this is your Tom King, Greg Smallwood series about the Human Target who has 12 days to live. And yeah, just love this stuff. You have the cover A by Greg Smallwood, and the variant this time is by Jorge Jimenez. A series that's had me intrigued ever since it was announced is Riddler Year 1. So this is written by Paul Dano, who of course was the Riddler in the Batman. And this is further exploration of that character. It's got Steban Subic on art. Beautiful cover there, I believe, is Bill Sienkiewicz as well. But this is going to be a 6-issue miniseries. And again, given how prestige that movie felt, it's interesting to have a comic tie-in to it. So hopes are high, it's going to be good. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man. So we're up to issue 12. Zeb Wells is still writing. John Romita Jr. on art and covers, which for me is the best Spidey at the moment when he is doing so. I'd mentioned Moon Knight has an annual. I showed you the variant. This is the main cover here. So Jed MacKay continuing to write this. Werewolf by Night, very much flavor of the month after the special presentation on Disney Plus recently. So yeah, one-shot story there. Strange Academy is back this week as well. Brand new #1. I love Strange Academy. I always say to people, if you have kids or a partner or whatever that loves like Harry Potter, for example, and they're looking at gateway into comics, this is perfect. This is like Harry Potter, but in the Marvel universe. And that's even doing it a disservice because it's even better than that. But yeah, back with a brand new #1. Scotty Young writing, Humberto Ramos on art. Next up is The Variants. This has been a cool Jessica Jones based series. You gotta love that vintage-esque looking cover as well. So A Jessica Jones Mystery is its subtitle, written by Gail Simone and art by Phil Noto. New issue this week as well of Venom. So Ram is back on writing duties for this issue. Brian Hitch continue with the writing. I think Venom's been a bit of a slow burn, but I think it's really picking up steam at the moment. And there's some really, really good stuff in Venom that has rewarded the patience of sticking with the title. Next up is Absolution. This is an AWA Studios title. I've been digging issue 4 of 5, all about a violent reality TV show. We've got new Mark Millar American Jesus this week. A new volume kicks off with Revelations. Peter Gross on art for that. I always talk about Barbaric as such a fun title. This is awesome. Michael Marek on writing duties. Nathan Gooden on art. It's basically Conan but R-rated. Blink's been a fun little series, and 4 issues deep for that. So Christopher Sabella, Hayden Sherman on art, and again, this is Oni Press celebrating their 25th anniversary. In this week, of interest to a lot of people, I'm sure, is Creepshow. This is the second printing of #1. #1, I've spoken to a few people about. #1 was a bit of a pain because no one pre-ordered it. It was on the board, chat about it in the podcast, tried to push it, nada. Day came out, I could have sold 40 copies of it. That's why pre-orders are so important, guys, because then the first print then became really hard to get. So they've done a second printing here with a brand new cover. So if you want to jump in the Creepshow, we've got those in stock this week. Already mentioned Damn Them All. Of course, I'm on that. Next up is one called Dead Mall, which is from Dark Horse Comics. It's going to be a little mini-series. The creators I'm not too familiar with, but it's horror stuff in a mall. Works for me. Adam Cesar and David Stoll are the creators on that. Jeez, I really do have a big pull list this week. Next up again, just in time for the horror season, is the Vault Double Nightfall feature. So the idea behind this is that it's like a horror double feature, 2 different stories within the one book, oversized, and a couple of different creators working on that. So again, just in time for the spooky season. Eternal Descent, this is a new one from Opus, who have been a company that have been a little bit on the rise recently with some cool stuff. And again, this is Michael Marecki, who's doing Barbaric. So again, following creators has my attention. Firepower is this week as well. We're up to issue 24, so this will be the end of the story arc. Robert Kirkman, Chris Samney, Ninjas, more do I need to say. Continuing with the Image celebratory issues this week, we're up to issue 7. which contains some brand new witches by Scott Snyder and Jock. Woohoo! Rather pleased about that. Hopefully it's on its way back. New issue of Magic Order this week as well. Magic Order 3 up to issue 4 of that. Has continued to be good stuff. We've got the last issue of New Think, which is a title from AWA, Greg Hurwitz writing, and Will Conrad on art. Science fiction. Well, science fact in certain places, all about how technology's taken over the world. This was from last week, Prometheus 1313, but I gave up my copy, so needed to get in a new issue. We have the return of the Chilean Adventures in Sorcery. These are always the Archie horror one-shots I enjoy very much. And again, that Francesco Francavilla cover. Sorry, deck, but look at the amount of orange. Love it. The Roadie is one I haven't read issue 1 of, but just sounded really cool. It was sort of like a horror title to do with a guy who's been a roadie for bands for many, many years. Tim Seeley writing, Frank Gallen on art. We have Rogues Gallery from Hannah Rose May, Justin Mason, Declan Shelby covers as well. This is all about entitled toxic fandom gone wrong. A new one from Behemoth Comics this week called Sarah Lone. So these are slightly smaller size comics, got a very European feel to them, beautiful art to them, and I believe this is a noir murder mystery, so right up my street. We have the last issue this week of Sins of the Black Flamingo, which has been a 5-issue heist book, which has been pretty cool, from Andrew Wheeler and Travis Moore. Stuff of Nightmares, again continuing the horror theme, again continuing the Francesco Francavilla cover theme, of course based on the R.L. Sutdine stuff of Nightmares. We finish off the week with a Vanish issue 2 from Donny Cates, Rand Stegman. Issue 1 was a great 90s throwback issue, I thought, so looking forward to tucking into that. So yeah, quite the oversized pull list for the week, to say the least. I'm just going to set this out of the way. So yeah, so we go from there and on to what's new in this week. And as I say, I've got a new supplier for manga, so I'm starting to order in a bit more. There are times the manga section can look a little bit lacking, I think, but again, it's not our focus of the store. We want to obviously have as much variety as possible, appeal to as many geekdoms as possible, but it's just my knowledge of manga isn't as high as my knowledge of comics, so therefore I get stuff in, but it'll be a little more fleeting than getting the consistent comics in. But yeah, what we'll see in this week is a rake of Dragon Ball Z volumes here. So volumes 2, 6, 12, 13, 14, 16, 19, 20. That's the other thing, you're always at the behest of what's in stock when it comes to manga, so you can't just order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next up we have the 7 Deadly Sins, again a little run of these. This is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So again, going out onto the shelves today. This one's a little bit more of a mixed pile, but these are some of the brands that I do know about. So we've got One Piece, number 1. We have the greatest anime of all time, Naruto, number 1. We have My Hero Academia, we got number 1 in last week, so number 2. We got Jujutsu Kaisen, number 1. We got Demon Slayer. We were able to actually get some sequential stuff, which was nice. 1, 2, and 3 of that. We got my personal favorite manga of all time, Death Note, number 1. So again, we're trying to get starting points in for people here with these here, trying to source those number 1s. And then undoubtedly probably the hottest manga at the moment is Chainsaw Man. And again, we managed to get a few number 1s, but then a few other volumes, so 4, 5, 6, and 10. So again, I'm going to be adding to the manga section where I can. I just find it a little tricky when you can't order like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or something. A little frustrating. Then on the comic side of things, not tons of new stuff in this week, but there is some good quality here and some restock. So first of all, back in stock is She-Hulk by Rainbow Rowell, drawn by Rogue Antonio and Luca Maresca. This has been great. Jen Bartel covers, which are perfect on the front and back. Obviously, She-Hulk, quite a divisive TV show to say the least. I enjoyed it. I had no problem with it. But the book has been fantastic. So that is the first story arc, and that's issues 1 to 5. Moon Knight, this run is awesome. This is the first 6 issues of the Jed Mackay, Alessandro Cappuccio run. Some of the best art you will see, introduces some new characters to the Moon Knight mythology, and again, perfect starting point if you're jumping into Moon Knight. A couple of Star Wars books for you now. So we have the Crimson Reign tie-in issues for Dr. Aphra. This covers Dr. Aphra 16 to 20. Alyssa Wong continuing to do some great stuff on that. We got Star Wars Bounty Hunters, again, the Crimson Reign tie-ins. This is Bounty Hunters 18 to 22 with Ethan Sachs continuing to write the heck out of that. We have a hardcover this week for Justice League Incarnate. So this is essentially the lead-in stuff to Dark Crisis. Written by Joshua Williamson and Dennis Culver, art by Andre Bressan. And yeah, this was a 6-issue miniseries, pretty sweet. So it was, can Justice League Incarnate successfully defend the multiverse across Infinite Earths? I'm guessing by the fact that led the Dark Crisis, probably not. But worth a read. Next up is a nice European size book. You can always tell by the dimensions, nearly always hardcover, but Titan Comics print a lot of these titles. This is a Game March title that had sort of snuck past me. I'm a big fan of Game March, of course, through Carmen, through the Joker run with James Tynion, worked on Batman, worked on all kinds of stuff. But this is one called Monica, which he is both writing and drawing. So looking forward to that. I have a copy of that for myself. A couple of classic Moon Knight runs back in stock. So first of all, we have the complete collection from Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. This was a 12-issue miniseries that kicked off in 2011. We got the Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood series back in as well, which was the 2016 series. And this was issues 1 to 14. You've also got some guest artists on this. Francesco Francavilla, James Stocco, Wilfredo Torres, and Michael Garland. We have the hardcover collection come in for Power Rangers Universe. What is the true origin of the Phantom Rangers? So this was a 6-issue miniseries. Boom, starting to knock the hardcovers out of the park a little bit as well. We have the sequel to Marvels, one of the best Marvel books of all time. Was Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross. Well, Kurt Busiek is back, and I believe it's Roger Stern, yes, working on it as well. And Jay Anacleto is on art for this. So this was the follow-up, which is Marvel's Eye of the Camera. New Epic collection in this week, which is Deadpool Mission Improbable. This is Deadpool Volume 2. So this covers 1994 to 1997. So you've got Wolverine 88, X-Force 47 and 56, Deadpool 1 to 9 and -1, Daredevil Deadpool Annual, and material from Wolverine Annual 95 as well. So if you're a fan of old Wade Wilson, those Epic collections are a good way to go. And then a couple of hardcovers to finish off. I'd mentioned Strange Academy before. They've just released this beautiful new premium volume for Strange Academy, First Class. So this is going back to the start. This covers the first 6 issues, and you've got them in 2 different ways. In this hardcover, you've got them in full color, but you've also got them in black and white with just the inks as well. But yeah, I love Strange Academy. It's such a good book. And then we finish off with a new omnibus in this week, which is the Miracle Man omnibus. So this is the run from Gary Leach, Alan Davis, John Tolben, Rick Veitch, Chuck Austin, and John Ridgway. So this is covering stuff from Book 1, A Dream of Flying, Book 2, The Red King Syndrome, Book 3, Olympus, plus the all-new Miracle Man Annual number 1. So a good timing with that. Obviously, Miracle Man has just come back with Neil Gaiman at the helm, along with Mark Buckingham. So a good time to go back and, read some of the classic Miracle Man stuff as well. So yeah, that's everything for this week. So this is all for the new comic book day of the 26th of October, which coincides with Alfie's 3-month birthday. Yes, I have become that dad. And so tons of great stuff in this week, as I say. Pull lists are all done and ready for collection, so pop in anytime for those. Or if there's anything that's not on the pull list and that appeals to you, just get in touch and we'll certainly get you sorted. So I am going to skedaddle and finish off my setting up before opening for the day. But as ever, I hope this proved useful, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the store soon. So take it easy.